If you're buying packs to build a master set, you're not collecting wrong, but you are collecting on hard mode. And once you understand why, the whole hobby starts to feel a lot less like a grind. Welcome to TCG Talk, where we talk about collector's mentality and how to be a better Pokemon TCG collector. And today, I want to make a case that almost nobody in this space is making. Master sets were never meant to be pulled from packs. Not because it's impossible, but because the entire design philosophy of Pokemon, from the video games to the card game, they were built around something different and something else. And when we ignore that, we just end up being frustrated. We start overspending. And then you start wondering why the hobby doesn't feel fun anymore. So here's 3 reasons why I think this hobby needs trading and buying to complete your master sets in your collections. Reason 1, pull rates were designed for trade, not for completion. If you look at any set list, right, Pokemon cards always have tiered rarities, from commons, uncommons, rares, and then you have these secret rares, and even those have tiers within themselves. So the odds on any given pack, they weren't meant to give you everything in the set. Honestly, they were only meant to give you a starting point for your card collection and something to work with, so that when you assess the gap between what you pulled and what you need, you're supposed to start trading in order to complete the set. Case in point, I mean, some of these newer modern sets have almost impossible pull rates when it comes to their hyper gold rares. Think about the Mega Charizard XEX, the Mega Charizard YEX, the Mega Dragonite EX. You know, those hyper rare cards are close to impossible to pulling. But you can pull a lot of good illustration rare cards alongside them. Taking those illustration rares, bundling them up, and going out and finding somebody who would be willing to trade you, maybe not just for the illustration rares, but maybe for some cash on top. You know, maybe there's other cards that you have extras of that the person you're trading with needs. You know, there's supposed to be this mutual exchange, right? So that's why I wholeheartedly believe that the Pokemon Company never wanted people buying products just to open up the packs to complete their sets. The second reason why I believe that trading and buying is necessary for this is because the secondary market is really your chance to connect with the community outside, and Pokemon values that above everything else. The secondary market is the intended path. It's not the workaround. I think one of the misconceptions about building master sets or building out a collection is that buying the singles feels like cheating, right? Like it feels as if you didn't put in the effort to create the set. And in fact, you're cheapening your master set by adding cards in it that you bought off of, let's say, a TCG player, for instance. But the one thing that we're missing here is that even before this bull run that we had in the Pokemon market, even then, cracking packs and ripping open packs, it was still a losing financial proposition. So it wasn't as if, like, just because the booster boxes were cheaper back then, you were, you know, coming out any better in terms of value when you open the packs. So, and even then, the pull rates in some of the older sets are even more impossible than our current modern sets. So you have to remember, and the next time that you're, you know, looking to finish out a master set and you're just missing those 1 or 2 cards and they're holo rares, or they're a more common rarity than, you know, the special illustration rares or illustration rares, just remember, just because you are buying the singles doesn't mean that you're cheapening your set, and you're not cheating out the hobby because you're doing that. It's the correct way to collect, and quite honestly, the more responsible way to collect. And finally, trading is core to Pokemon's DNA. And honestly, that's good news. No, if you go back to the video games, and I don't know if some of you are playing the Fire Red, Leaf Green ports on the Nintendo Switch, but there are Pokemon you can only obtain by trading. You can't get Machamp, Alakazam, Golem in those two games without trading for them. And in addition to that, there's even version locked Pokemon that you can't catch in Leaf Green that you can in Fire Red. And so the whole intent is you're supposed to find a friend and you're supposed to find other people who play the game with you to link together and to make these trades happen so that you can complete your decks or actually get the Machamp or Alakazam that you want, right? It's with Pokemon cards, it's not supposed to feel like a grind like this. You're supposed to take the cards that you have and walk over to your neighbor and say, hey, maybe not your literal neighbor, but walk over to somebody and say, hey, I'm missing these cards. I have these ones. Can we work out a deal because I need the card that you have, right? And in that sense, right, like it shouldn't feel so financially burdensome. It shouldn't feel like a grind to you. If anything, it should be a relief to you because all you have to do now is find other like-minded folks, and there's plenty of other like-minded people like you and me collecting Pokemon cards in their adult age. So just remember, like you never really were supposed to pull everything yourself. Let that sink in, take that in, because listen, pack opening is fun. There's no denying that. There's valid reasons to do it. There's incredible dopamine hits when you get a top chase card or you get an SIR or whatever it may be, right? But if we're talking master setting, if we're talking completing collections, no, you're putting yourself on a never-ending treadmill if you're telling yourself, hey, I need to rip packs and get every single card I need for my set from these packs, and that's the only way I can complete it. So trade more. Buy singles without feeling guilty about it. Because honestly, connecting with other collectors is how the hobby was intended to be. So that frustration that you've been feeling, hey, I can't pull my master set from these cards. I'm so frustrated. I can't get packs, therefore I can't pull my master set. I feel frustrated. That's not the hobby being broken. That's not distribution issues. That's you fighting the design that Pokemon intended this TCG to be. So stop fighting it. If this video reframed anything for you at all, made you second guess, or think twice about how you view collecting trading cards, go ahead, leave me a like. It genuinely helps to reach more collectors and more people who honestly may need to hear these words. And if you want to stay in the loop, want more videos like this, subscribe so you don't miss the next TCG Talk drop. And in addition to all this, I also put out a newsletter that kind of deep dives on the collector's mentality, and we deep dive into sets and we deep dive into releases. Just as like a value proposition, what should we do and how should we move as budget-minded collectors? So yeah, last but not least, I want to hear from y'all. Do you buy singles, or do you feel like pulling the card is part of the experience and it's a necessary part of the experience of collecting Pokemon cards? Drop it in the comments. There's literally no wrong answer. I'm really genuinely curious where you land on it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.